everyone. For some of you who may not know who I am, my name is Lauren Thompson, and I am currently an English education major at Florida State University. I graduated from Trinity Catholic in 2012 and was a part of Life Team for all 4 years. In fact, my first year was actually Julie's first year, so that's kind of fun. And Julie contacted me the other day asking if I would be willing to share how my family came to be a part of the church. And I obviously said yes. So this is my family story. My mom was baptized when she was a baby into the Lutheran faith. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But after my grandparents' divorce, when she was about 3 years old, my grandma stopped taking her and my uncles to church. And she was kind of raised without any sense of God in her life. My dad, on the other hand, his family has never believed in organized religion. They believe that there is a God, but they don't see the sense in actually having to go to church. So that's how both my parents were raised. And when my brother Chris and I came along, my mom made sure that we knew what the true meaning of Christmas was. So we always knew that Jesus was the reason Christmas exists, and that it's not just because of Santa Claus. And we would always have a manger scene in our house come Christmas, and she always made sure that we knew that Jesus was not allowed to be put in the manger until Christmas because he wasn't born yet. So, and of course we knew all the classic Bible stories from the Old Testament, so about Noah, Adam and Eve, those stories. But when Chris and I were young, I was 3 and he was 1, we moved to Ocala because my dad got a job. And the day he started, he met a woman named Karen Schultz. Karen, her husband Jeff, and their 2 kids quickly became our Florida family because they're from Wisconsin and neither of us had any family here. And Karen and her 2 kids are Catholic. When I was about 7 years old, Chris started he'd been going to Angels in Arms, and he was in his last year there, and he started going to church every Friday with Blessed Trinity. And he'd come home and he'd tell me about it, and I'd start wondering, well, why can't I go? And I asked my mom that one time. And I think Karen overheard, or was told, and come Christmas, she asked, do you want to go to church with us? And I said, okay, I'll go. I went and was confused out of my mind. I was 7. I'd never been to any sort of mass. I'd been in a church once when we went for my great-grandfather's funeral. That was the only time. And I was confused. I didn't know what was going on. But when I got home, my mom asked, well, how was it? And I said, I loved it. I want to go again. And she was just like, okay. So, come Easter, Karen asked again, do you want to go? And I said, of course, I want to go. And so that went on for about 2 years. And when I was 9 years old, that's when everything kind of happened. We went to a family friend's house for a New Year's Eve party, and right after the clock struck midnight, my mom asked me, well, what do you want to do in the new year? I said, I want to go to church. I want to go to Karen's church. And she was flabbergasted. It was the last thing she had expected me to say. And she thought about it and talked to Karen about it. And she talked to Chris. And she made the decision that come August, when registration for RCIA and RCIC came, we were going to register and we were going to go and we were going to join the church. She told my dad this, and he was just like, okay. And he thought about it and talked to Karen, and he figured, well, my whole family is doing this, why shouldn't I? So come March of 2010, when I was 2005, when I was 10 years old, My dad, my brother, and I, we were baptized, and my mom made her profession of faith. And that night, we all four of us made our first communion, and my parents and I were confirmed. And this was at the Easter Vigil Mass. Ever since then, we've been going to church, and that summer we went up to Ohio and to visit family and everything. And when we sat down for dinner with my dad's family, one of his three brothers saw us pray before we ate. And he looked at my dad and said, "What, are you Catholic now?" And my dad looked him square in the eye and said, "Yes, we are." And it kind of sparked some, okay, why kind of talk. And it was one of the first moments where I had to defend my faith. And I was 10. I didn't know why there were a lot of these things. I was learning myself. And come the next school year, Chris and I were enrolled in Blessed Trinity School, and I started going to Edge, and over time I started learning about my faith and getting to be more knowledgeable in it. Then 8th grade happened, and some things happened, and I started to wonder, where was God when I needed him? I felt lost and alone, and my mom saw this and signed me up for the Steubenville conference, without telling me. So I went, and I didn't get anything out of it the first time. I'd gone 5 times, so I kept going. But the first time I went, I didn't get anything out of it. I put on a face like I did for a lot of things, and just was like, yeah, that was fun. But I got into high school, and my friends started going to Lake Team. So I went. My friends were going, so why shouldn't I? That kind of deal. And I started getting really involved and loving it. I was still in this strange place in my faith where it's just like, why this, why that, where are you, God? And at the Steubenville conference again, I went again, and that my second time going, during adoration, I had this influx of emotion and just, I felt connected to God for the first time in a long time. And I broke down and cried. And when I felt as if I had the ability to forgive, which is something I needed so much at that time. And I had the courage to do so. And it's only through God that I had that. And over the next 3 years, I grew in my faith, and so did my whole family. I mean, after that, because it was a whole family ordeal that happened when I was in 8th grade, and a lot of resentment rolled in through my beginning years of high school. And when that forgiveness was able to be given, my whole family just started to bloom again, and we all got really involved in our faith, and God has become this saving power for us. And without him, we wouldn't be able to have gone through a lot of the things we've had to go through. I mean, deaths in the family, cancer, sickness, just family troubles in general. And another branch of that has been, because the theme of your retreat is sent and evangelization. Well, in November of 2012, my parents told me that my uncle Larry, my dad's oldest younger brother, he has 3 brothers, all older, but his youngest older brother was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And immediately this influx of prayers started coming in, and it shocked my family. I mean, everyone was saying, you're in our thoughts and prayers. We're praying for you." And my uncle was so touched by it. And in last February, he was told that there's nothing they could do. There was no treatment that would cure it, and they basically said, "We're sorry, but this is the end." And again, the influx of prayers and thoughts, it really moved my uncle, and he contacted my dad and started asking questions about being baptized. And he wanted my dad to be the one to do it. And my dad talked to Father Pat about it, and he was told that in extreme situations, a layperson could baptize, and it'd still be, so long as the intentions were pure and right, it would still be a valid baptism. So, over that summer, 2 weeks before my uncle passed away, the last time I saw him, my dad baptized him in front of my whole family. That is what my uncle wanted. And it shocked my grandparents and my uncles and my aunts and my cousins. And it changed them. My uncle's death changed them. I mean, yes, death does. It brought everyone closer together, and I've seen on Facebook and stuff like that, when people have been saying they're going through hard times, my aunts, my grandmother, and my cousins are all saying, "Well, you're in our thoughts and prayers. We're praying for you." And a couple of my cousins have told me, "We've been reading the Bible." And it's just like, okay. So it's slowly starting to change. They're slowly starting to change, and it's helped them to get through the whole loss of my uncle. And that's what God does. He helps you through things, even if you think He isn't. He is right by your side. And it reminds me of the poem Footprints, where you only see one set of footprints is when I carried you. And that line is something that has stuck with me throughout my whole life since joining the church. And it's only recently that I've come to realize that. So I never regretted my decision to become Catholic. I've been happier than I have ever been, and it's wonderful, and I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change it for anything. So that's my story. I'm sorry it's kind of long, but I hope you have gotten something out of it and realize that it doesn't take this miraculous event to lead people to God or to help them overcome difficulties. And it's just, you can do it. And don't be afraid to ask for help. And always go to God and pray. And adoration is a wonderful thing. So I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your retreat. And you are all in my thoughts and prayers. And I hope I'll see you all soon. Bye!